Hi guys, so I recently got to chat with Chris Appleton of Absolva. We chat about the brand new album that they've got coming out on February 18th, Fire in the Sky, the title track that they've just released in the accompanying video, the writing process of the album, everything they've got planned for the promotion of it, including another two music videos all set to release, working with Blaze Bayley in Blaze Bayley solo band, and everything the guys have got planned between both outfits over the next 12 months. And great to chat with Chris. We also spoke about his time at Stone Dead Festival, which I'm part of the production team for, where the guys stepped in at the 11th hour when a band due to COVID had to pull out, and he pulled a double shift playing, well, all of Absolva did, playing both as Absolva and as Blaze Bayley's touring band. And you can see everything me and Chris had to say right now. And we're joined by Chris Appleton of Absolva. How you keeping, dude?
I'm very well, mate. How are yourself?
Yeah, mate. Can't complain. Can't complain. So a couple of days back, I was fortunate enough to receive Fire in the Sky, the full album from yourself. So one, thank you for trusting me with it. Two, what a bloody brilliant album, man. You guys can't wait for this one to get launched out there.
Yeah, it's been very exciting. I mean, we've worked really hard on it. We had a lot of good song ideas, and it came together quite quickly, really, the recording process and the writing. And then we kind of, everybody's keeping the fingers crossed, what's got to be next for live gigs and everything. So yeah, it's looking like the stars have aligned for 2022 with the Absolva, Fire in the Sky. It's our 10th anniversary this year as well.
Oh, is it your 10th anniversary as well?
Yeah, so it's all looking very hopeful. So we've had a great response from the single and the new video.
Yeah, it's video great.
Yeah, and it was done really well. The video guy Elliot, and we filmed it down at 11 in Stoke, which is a great venue, which we've played a couple of times before. And so yeah, everything's kind of come to pass. Our last album, Side by Side, before Fire in the Sky, that was all teed up nicely with a massive European tour. We were going to South America again. We had some great festivals, and it was all set to be released in April 2020. So we had a great response from the album. We had great pre-orders and everything, but all these massive tour dates and all this big touring that we had set up kind of dropped off, and things were rescheduled. So as much as we had a massive response from the album, us as musicians, we kind of felt like the album sloped a bit because we couldn't actually do a tour.
Couldn't go and support it.
Yeah, and so because we had all these extra ideas and all these new ideas, we just got to work, really early on the writing for Fire in the Sky, got it really together and planned it as we do. And yeah, we thought, let's make it happen for 2022.
Yeah, good on you, man. So any of the songs that ended up on the album left over from Side by Side, or were they?
Not in the finish, no. we ended up, we had a few leftovers from Side by Side, and then myself and Luke, who we do majority of the songwriting. We kind of just had a writing frenzy, really. We ended up having to choose 10 songs from about 18 songs that we'd got together, and so we just kind of picked the absolute best ones that we thought would suit. And we're in kind of back into the old school way of doing albums, where we want to make sure the album's 45 minutes or under.
Yeah.
So it'll fit on single vinyl, because everyone's back into the vinyl thing. So you want to make sure it's the same length as Blizzard of Oz or Heaven and Hell, the classic albums. And that worked really well when we did our live album last year, or the year before. I'm getting lost again. Live in Europe. So it all fitted on the single vinyl. The artwork looked great, and we could get everything sort of the same as the
Yeah.
CD. So yeah, it's just really happened with Fire in the Sky. But you know, the people that have heard it so far, I've said, you know, it's probably the top 3, or if not the top favorite Absolver album. And some people that have heard the single, you know, some of the fans have said, "Oh, I think this is my new favorite Absolver song."
Great
So,
when you get that. That's got to be good for you guys to get a response like that. I mean, just
yeah,
you know, speaking as a fan of music, mate, and fan of yourselves. Like when I had naturally when I got it sent across, first thing I listened to was a single, and I thought, "Oh, no, this is good." And I was going to the gym that night when I got the promo sent across. So, like I often do when bands send me across, it's headphones in the gym and see if it passes what I like to call me gym test, which is does it keep me going, basically?
yeah,
And yeah, high energy stuff on that one, mate. So I was very grateful to you boys. In fact, I spat it twice straight off the bat to keep me going for the whole gym session. So yeah,
Oh,
great album, man. Really solid. Like I say, full of energy. It kicks off, obviously, with Demon Tormentor. Doesn't kick up like Demon Tormentor. By the way, what a great opener for an album. Love that one that kicked up. And it doesn't stop all the way through. It's just a solid album, mate. It's just all you can say about it. I know you're saying about wanting to go under the 45 minutes for vinyl, which I've noticed a lot of bands doing now, which I'll be honest, I think is great because don't get me wrong, we all like when a double album's worthy of being a double album, it's brilliant. But there's a lot of bands that will put, we can put these songs on as well now. And you get sort of 14 track albums. And don't get me wrong, there's some albums I adore that are 14, 15 tracks long, but there's temptation, I think, to put that filler on because as an artist, you're, you know, dedicated to the songs that you write naturally. And I know that from writing stuff myself. But when you are that harsh on yourself to go, right, only, you know, in your case, 10 songs or however many it is the 45 minutes, you know, only the real finest ones we've got here, boys, is going to go on it. I think it makes more of a statement because it does pack more of a punch because in the case of Fire in the Sky, the energy doesn't drop. The quality doesn't drop all the way through.
Yeah, I think it's you end up working on those songs more. I think you end up refining the songs that you have got. And, you know, oh, why are we playing this riff 4 times? Shouldn't we just be playing this riff twice and then get into the verse and get into the chorus quicker? And then let's get some exciting solo, you know, going. I think you end up refining what you've actually got, you know, the bones of the song a hell of a lot more. And you start thinking, oh, is this really the best possible, you know, end product we can have for this song? Or can we make it better? You know, why have we done this in this order? Should we move this section over here?
Yeah.
You know, and you end up thinking about things a bit more. Whereas I think if you've got 16 songs to work on,
yeah, it's a bit overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, and I always go back to, you know, my favorite albums. They're all AC/DC, Ozzy, and Sabbath. You know, and none of those are over 60 minutes. You know, I don't think any of them are over 45 minutes.
No.
But you know, I've constantly, you know, if they're on in the van when we're on tour,
yeah,
we'll just let them spin and spin and spin. They'll just, you know, go on repeat, you know, and nobody really gets bored of Blizzard of Oz or
No.
something like that. You know?
No, you can't get bored of that, can you? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I know when I spoke to Blaze, well, it'd been last year now, for the War Within Me album, he was talking about, you know, the songwriting sort of style that you guys had between each other and how you were sort of both not letting each other up and not letting each other get away with anything. And it sort of kind of get the impression that you've sort of, you and the rest of the boys obviously carried that through with this album as well.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm writing with Blaze, it's painful. You know, it's amazing. There's not more blood on the carpet by the end of the album process. You know, and I think the riff should go like this. He says, no, that lyric just is not good enough, Blaze. Well, I think, well, and then it says, well, I'm going to have to go to the pub for an hour. It says, well, I'm going for a walk. You know, and then we have a couple of hours and then we come back and we go, actually, you know, maybe you were right. Oh, no, maybe you were right as well. So, but I think you've got to have that. You've got to have a bit of, you know, songwriting sparring, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know. Otherwise, you know, it's kind of like you've not got some spark. I think the beauty of, when we have arguments over songwriting, and me and Luke have exactly the same thing when we're writing the Absolva albums, it shows that you care.
Yeah, this is it, isn't it?
It shows that you really, really care about the song and the songwriting, and you're not just going, oh yeah, that'll do, that riff's, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, chorus now, what do you think of them words? Oh yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
So you're not, nobody's blasé about anything. Everybody's really, really dedicated 100% to the whole thing. So yeah, I mean, it's all healthy stuff, I think, for musicians, and I think you get used to each other the more albums you do.
Yeah.
This was my 4th album with Blaze on the War Within Me album. So it was the 4th one I wrote with him for a studio album, and it was the 7th or 8th album. We've done a few live albums as well now. So as we've gone over the years, we've definitely learned how, what makes each other tick, and that goes exactly the same when I'm working with Luke on an Absolva album. We sit and I think I annoy him as much as Blaze annoys me, and the other way around. But I think that's just the way it's got to be. It's the Lennon and McCartney sort of syndrome.
That's it, man. I mean, nothing ever of true to me. Every songwriting pair that I love, for want of a better term, fight in the studio. But like you say, I think this is it. It's the passion behind it. It's it's never anything personal when you're doing that sort of thing. It's only ever because you truly believe what you want to do in that scenario within the song is right, and they vice versa. And like you say, it's the Lennon McCartney thing. It's the Steven Tyler and Joe Perry. It's
yeah, exactly.
No doubt. Every rockumentary I've ever watched about any album being created, sort of going back what you said about classic album stuff, normally somewhere in that documentary year, I wanted to kill him by the end of this, but and I think you bang on, mate. I think it's for a healthy writing partnership. Nothing amazing ever comes out of being in a room full of yes men. It just doesn't work. You need that. You need that bounce off. You need to. And if you're just getting said yes to all the time, you're going to get blasé in your own writing because, oh, well, whatever I write, they like anyway, so I might as well go through thinking. But yeah, I think this is, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I mean, Side by Side was my favourite Absolva album. Now, the more I listen to this, I think Fire in the Sky is starting to take over it, which obviously is a plus for you because it means you guys are doing the trajectory thing that every artist wants to do, I guess. But, man, I just can't wait for, one, I can't be able to wait to play more songs on the radio from it live because obviously, in a minute, just playing Fire in the Sky. 2, I'm looking forward to hearing these songs live again. Last time I saw you guys perform, well, I say saw you guys perform, I heard you from the backstage area while I was working at Stone Dead.
Yeah, Stone Dead, yeah.
And talk about coming in at literally the 11th hour, mate. I mean, and to be fair play to you, you did the full set, and well, I mean, I don't even hate to think how few hours notice you got. I mean, also you were going to be on site anyway to play with Blaze, but
yeah, I mean, it was well, it was really exciting more than anything because if we didn't perform with Absolva and everything was just as it was and the treatment were good health, it was going to be our first show back after COVID and everything.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
With Blaze. So I think I remember waking up on in the early hours of Friday night, Saturday morning, and I had a message off Chris, and it just said, "Mate, you awake?" ? And I just text back, said, "Not really, mate. I've had an early night to get ready for you boys," and went back to sleep. And then I think the next thing I remember, I just had, and Carl, our bass player, was staying at my house, so it was a bit closer to where we were rehearsing and everything to get to Stone Dead. He just barged open into my bedroom and said, "Chris, you need to phone Boss, our manager, immediately. Treatment have pulled out. He wants Absolva." I'm like, "Oh, great. What's the problem?" "We need to set off now." So that, so I was, but you know, so, but that's the other thing is we didn't have any Absolva rehearsals.
No, but you
So,
didn't.
so because we were rehearsing the maiden set for Blaze, and that's what we were doing all the days running up. So then I'm like, what are we gonna play? You know, we've not rehearsed any of the new songs. We've not, you know, we just didn't think we were going to have a show.
Yeah.
So I was scribbling down all the songs from the last time we played live, which was still effectively the Defiance set list, you know, the album before Side by Side. And I said to the guys, as much as I want to play the new songs from Side by Side, we've not rehearsed them. And, you know, since actually recording the vocals in the studio, I've not sang any of those songs. But all the previous songs were all sort of
Still out there.
built in my head. So it's like, let's just, if there's going to be a few thousand people here, let's go out, you know, confident with what we're going to be playing, if we're going to do it with no rehearsal. So, yeah, from the end of January 2020 to Stone Dead end of August 2021, we'd not performed an Absolva set list. So, so it was high adrenaline, but you know, nerves were a little bit twitchy, but you know, it was a great day for me. I was just so excited the entire day for coming back, playing live.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you love doing. That's why you do it, I guess. But
and I tell you what, we made so many new fans from Stone Dead.
Oh, that's good to know.
You know, I mean, we recognise so many people, and you know, Absolva fans, we share a lot of them with Blaze fans, and but then you know, we kind of looked out and thinking, well, actually, we could really get some new fans in, find some new friends. And then the days after, I was like, actually, I think, you know, we have found a lot of new people here. And I always felt like that, you know, after the, you know, last couple of albums, because there was like a short time, maybe after Never Good Day to Die album and going into Defiance, we weren't actually playing the UK that much. You know, we probably only averaged out doing about 2 shows in the UK, Manchester, and maybe one other. And pretty much everything we did was in Europe, and mainly France, Germany, Belgium, and Holland, and a bit in Scandinavia, and some festivals. But we kind of, and this was not really intentional either, you know, it just kind of happened that way. And we always got invited back to these other gigs in Germany and France and everything, and then support tours. And then we'd always say to the agent, says, oh, can we get the UK support dates? It says, no, we're just going to give you Europe, because that's where you're going to be a pull. And we're like, oh, okay, well, that's fair enough. So it kind of dropped off a little bit in the UK for us, but absolutely not really, you know, a planned thing.
No.
You know, we love the European fans very, very much. And then just towards the end of the Defiance tour, we started doing a couple of different gigs. We played Hammerfest when it was still in North Wales, which we'd done years ago. But again, there was a massive gap. So we've done Hammerfest and a couple of other festivals, and then we started playing a few more headline gigs in the UK. And then I really felt we were building up, just running up into the lockdown. So then coming back at Stone Dead, it almost felt like a really big rebirth for us in the UK.
That's cool, man.
So we kind of shook a few people up, reminding everybody that we're still alive and we're still going. And then made all these new fans and friends. So it was, you know, really, really cool for us to play. But I'm very, very grateful to Chris for inviting us to perform the double shift, you know, because I think it's really given us a peg up again in our home country.
That's great, man. Speaking of live shows, though, how's the plans coming out? Obviously, and everything's a bit iffy still with live shows for the rest of the year, but how's it looking for you guys over here? Is everything cool? Or
yeah, I mean, we've got the Hammerfest in February in Birmingham. Again, we're doing another double shift, Absolva and Blaze. Then we've got Pentafest at the end of February in Wales. And then we've kind of got our European dates in March still in at the moment. Because there's been a recent, I mean, this might change over the next, sort of few days or so, few weeks. But I took the decision to kind of keep the European dates in March where they were, and then just leave all the rest of the European dates from April to the end of the year where they were, because I kept on rescheduling. But everything's changed quite a lot now. France have just recently said they're lowering all their restrictions so they can, get back to having people standing up in venues and at shows and everything. There's a government announcement coming soon for Holland and Germany. I think Germany's the main one, really, because you always go in and out of Germany. And I've been doing so much research on not just the COVID situation, but the Brexit situation as well. With touring Europe, it's not just going from the UK and going to Germany and doing some gigs and coming back. Is that at the moment we've had this situation where you can go to Germany, but then you can't go to Holland and France because of the COVID situation, because they want to know that you're not been to a load of countries and dragged COVID across for lots of different people. So I think especially because you're a musician and you're in a room full of a couple of hundred people now. So yeah, we've just had a lot on our plates to get prepared for when we're getting the green light to go back. But we've pretty much made the decision, even if it's just going over to do a couple of shows in France or a couple of shows in Germany and whatever, even if it's just split up. We really want to try and do it as soon as we possibly can, and just find out what it's like now, after 2 years of not going over there. So that's the plan, so I really hope that's going to work out. And then festival season's looking really cool. We've got some stuff over in Denmark.
Oh, nice.
France again, Germany. Got a couple. I've got one really cool one in Austria. And we've got some good UK festivals lined up.
Really?
So hopefully festival season is going to be fine anyway, because most of those we're just flying into. We don't have to, get the van across to Europe. And then keep, hitting the UK hard. We've got some good solid things coming up. Some things haven't been announced yet. But I was saying, like, to a couple of people on the phone earlier today, before lockdown, we were averaging about 200 shows a year, between Absolva and Blaze in any 1 year.
Wow.
And sometimes it was a bit less than that, but there was 1 year, I think about 5 years ago, where we did over 200 shows in one.
Man, that's incredible.
And so we were, spending more than half of the year living out of our rucksacks. So I think that was the big culture shock for lockdown 2020. I suddenly became a great decorator.
I think it's the thing there, isn't it? I mean, from my point of view, it was a nightmare enough for me having to postpone and reorganise Just Push Play and pushing that back a year. And that was just one show, obviously, involved with Stone Dead, but very much that less on the directors between, Neil, Lou and Chris, obviously. I just do what they need from me on that side of things. But to try and reorganise and get I was so fortunate with Just Push Play that we managed to get all the bands who we did have booked for 2020 to schedules to line up so that we could have them all back for 2021, which I'll be honest, I didn't think I was going to be able to get to do, just sort of logistically. When I had to push it back a year, I was thinking that's never going to happen. I'm going to inevitably lose a couple of bands and we're going to have to look for replacements or whatever. But no, fortunately, everybody was, well, not fortunately for the bands, but they were all in the same boat. But fortunately for me, there was a couple of dates that we could all work together on, which was great. But it just reminded, like, going back to, the beginning of lockdown, it was strange because I was at Winter's End Festival, like Planet Rock Winter's End Festival, and Guerrilla Riot were playing, who we had on a Just Push Play that year, or supposed to before we moved it, sort of thing. And I'm stood there having a beer with Deggy, their bass player, who's a mate of mine, I know him quite well. And me and Deggy were stood there having a beer, and there was this sort of rumor of this virus coming across Europe, sort of thing. And I'll be honest, when it was just at that point, I was going, it's nothing. And then, 2 years later, what do I know, sort of thing. But I remember Deggy saying to me, like, mate, do you think this is going to affect Just Push Play? And this was sort of end of February sort of time, literally about 2 weeks before they put the country into lockdown. And there's me going, no, Just Push Play until August. It's 6 months away. Whatever this is, it'll be a couple of weeks, maybe a month, and then it'll dissipate and, we'll be back to normal. And then I was getting closer and closer to Just Push Play, and I'm going, shit. I am going to have to eat my words here, but I was just such an unprecedented thing. I don't think anybody knew.
Yeah, I don't think
what to expect.
I feel sorry for pretty much everybody with it, because there was never, here's the handbook, ladies and gentlemen, for what you do in a global pandemic, and it's going to last for 2 years. Nobody could prepare anybody for it. And I was very similar to you, towards the end of 2019. I think, I saw in the news, and I even got the name wrong a few times when we were talking about the virus, and a couple of people it was just called coronavirus back then. And I think I kept on calling it the Peroni virus. And then we were in, where were we? We were in Brazil in January 2020. And on the way home, we had to get a connection flight in Paris. So there was absolutely no real talks about the virus in Brazil.
Yeah.
And then we landed in Paris to get our connection back home. And then Paris, everybody was wearing a mask walking around. And we're like, why is everyone wearing masks? What's going on? And I remember Blaze saying, oh, it's this virus.
Yeah.
And again, I thought it was having a laugh. I thought, Iron Maiden's got a song called Virus, Blaze. And and then I see going down an escalator, and Blaze refused to touch the handrails on this escalator going down to the tram. And I was like, bloody hell, he's serious about this.
Yeah.
And so that was my kind of first, kind of thought of, oh, this could be something.
Yeah, it could be something.
And then, March comes, and then, you still don't really think that it's going to be something big. You just think, oh yeah, it's going to be a couple of weeks, and we'll be all right. So I don't think anybody really realized it was going to be the extent it has done and the impact it would have had. But I'm got all my fingers crossed. I've got everything crossed, to be honest, ready for 2022, because I really do think this is the year that will be different.
I'll be honest, I think, and I've spoken to sort of other musicians who are in the same boat as yourself. They've released an album or go about to release an album, and naturally want to go out there and tour it, because similarly to yourself, some of them had released albums previously and couldn't do it because everything that's going on. I think as a rock fan myself, everyone out there is hungry for live music again. I was fortunate enough with Just Push Play that we did get to go ahead in 2021 like Stone Dead, and it was that thing of, it was really by determination, I think, and a bit of stubbornness on my part. We pushed it back a year, and then it was like, right, okay, and then we're lifting it on this date, and I was thinking, brilliant, that's 6 weeks before Just Push Play, fantastic. And then they went, right, we're pushing it back by 4 weeks, and I'm going, oh god, don't do this again, please. But I was working closely with the Apex, the venue, who were in touch with the council, local authorities. I was constantly keeping myself updated with all that kind of thing. And if it came to it, I would have pulled it again. But 2020, was 10 years for the anniversary of my dad passing away, which is why I set up the whole Just Push Play and everything. So I was really gutted to already have to push it back a year. And and I didn't want to do it again if I didn't have to. But fortunately, people came. I was a bit worried that people might not show. You know, they might say, "Well, we'll buy the ticket because it's for the hospice. We won't ask for the refund." But maybe they wouldn't show because, well, similarly to why, you know, other gigs I've been to since stuff got lifted up and people weren't quite comfortable of going just yet. But no, we absolutely had a full house, and we were very fortunate, you know. And it was just one of those things that you look out and you think, "God, we actually did this." And as a music fan, I just want that experience for everyone now. You know what I mean? It's been too long since we had decent regular live music again. So, and I think, like you say, you know, the artists are craving it, us fans are craving it. So fingers crossed, this is the year that it finally opens up properly.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think get January out of the way, because January is always a weird month anyway. It's after Christmas. Everyone's, you know, getting the money back together, waiting to get paid. So, you know, February and, you know, into the warmer months, you know, I was always wait for the clocks to change as well. I'm like, right, we really go. We're on our way to festival season now.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm really looking forward to it. We've got the new album. It's going really well. And
are you releasing any more singles before the album gets released, or is it just
we're planning? I think we're planning to release another one before release date. But I mean, we're quite close already. We've got another. I think we're planning on another 2 music videos.
All right, cool.
Which we've not really done before. Usually we end up doing the music videos after release and everything. So, but I really wanted a really cool video to go on with the pre-order. And we wanted to do a couple of different videos as well. You know, the original Code Red video that we did for the first album, Flames of Justice, is still kind of the most popular video, and it's the most popular song from that album. And so I wanted something with that kind of impact. I remember that we put that video out on the run up to the first album coming out. So I wanted to have something that quality, and I didn't want too much narration or anything or storyline. I just wanted it to be really good quality, really good live performance. You know, this is what we're all about. So let's keep it simple for this first one, and put the title track out there. And then, you know, the next 2 we're going to have slightly different. I think one's going to be a lyric video, and then another one that's going to be kind of a mix of different gigs and festivals that we've done. So yeah, and I think it's worked well, because we've had so many different subjects to write about in this new album. You know, we've kind of gone over a couple of more darker sort of subjects and different kind of songwriting subjects on this album, which I think's made it quite a unique Absolva album.
Yeah, because normally, obviously, you're, for want of a better term, your stuff's quite positive, but equally, you know, it would be hard not to have gone through the last 2 years. Generally, I mean, there's been so much go on through people going through personal stuff as well. You know, I had friends of mine who had previous problems with addiction and stuff like that, and they were okay because everything was all right. And then, you know, the last 2 years, not from just COVID point of view, but just really threw them out because everyone was thrown out of whack. They didn't know where they were.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, there's a whole mixed bag, really. I mean, the Demon Tormentor that you mentioned before, that kind of went back to, I originally had this idea of doing a concept album, which kind of got scrapped very, very early on. But I wanted to kind of do, at that time, it was almost like a bit of a Lord of the Rings type thing, but a bit more brutal. So Lord of the Rings meets Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So I created the character, the Demon Tormentor. It was kind of like your Sauron, you know, arch nemesis, you know. But I wanted it very military. So I wanted a very military sort of outlook on it. And so he was kind of the root force of the Demon Tormentor.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of tell that story the way probably if Anthrax were jamming with Iron Maiden would tell it, you know. And so that's the way that came out. The Burn Inside, that was like almost a lockdown sort of thing where we were kind of really waiting. It's kind of the feeling of when we turned up at Stone Dead. You know, this is all this energy and everything's been building up inside of us, and that's what we wanted to do. Addiction, again, like you said, it was anybody that's kind of battled with alcohol, drug, smoking, addiction, and it was kind of going from the perspective of the recovered alcoholic, that person that's quit smoking for 12 months, 2 years, and but they've still got that bug in their head. You know, they'll pass somebody who's smoking a cigarette, or they'll pass a pub, and they'll just go, you know what, I could really go again. You know, and it was kind of telling the story from that kind of perspective. You know, it's they're still battling addiction, even though they've recovered. You know, that was kind of my foresight with it. So there's a whole mixed bag in there. You know, I think Fire in the Sky is kind of the more traditional Absolva song, because that is the positive song. But yeah, there is some darker things, but we're still trying to go from the positive sort of
that positive
storytelling. Yeah.
That's the thing. You can choose a dark subject matter without it being a negative story. For instance, you know, it's just part of life. Simple as that. Yeah,
that's it.
But I thought Refuse to Die was probably a good way to close it. That's quite a positive track, to be fair.
Yeah, that I always wanted, and it took forever, and everybody kept on saying I'm being cheesy, and I always wanted to get Manchester into a lyric, and everyone says, oh no, you can't put Manchester in a lyric. Who wants to sing about Manchester? And I'm like, it's my hometown, I want to put Manchester in a lyric. Why can Alabama go in a lyric? Why can LA go into a lyric? You know, why can New York go into a lyric? Why can London go into a lyric? Why can't Manchester go into a lyric? So to have the opening line, Friday night in Manchester, you know, that was kind of, I've done it. You know? And so yeah, that was just kind of telling the story of not just Absolva playing Friday nights in Manchester. There's music all around, and telling, you know, what, you know, buzz we have with the music scene. It was me going to other people's concerts, me going to see, you know, gigs at the Academy and the Apollo, and even just small bars and everything. It was, you know, it's really exciting, feel good song to play and to write, because you know, I was trying to go for like more my very early influence of Thin Lizzy with it all. So
it reminded me sort of a bit of a kind of denim leather, quite kind of call to arms type thing on it. That's what I liked about it. So
yeah,
you know,
it's definitely that kind of thing. It's quite, again, that's probably quite a unique song for us, and kind of a new sort of spin on our genre, you know, our Absolva genre, if you will.
And Manchester's got a great rock music scene, so why can't it be in a lyric?
Exactly.
One of my, I mean, I'm well, originally from North, originally family's from Sunderland, like, but you know, I'm down this end of the Willenbury Cinema because my dad was in the RAF. But if, like, me and Joe, my wife, often, like, if there's, you know, a gig worth going to, I'll be honest, I hate going to London. Like, it's not. I'm too chilled out for London. It just gets on my nerves. You know, I've had some good nights out in London. Don't get me wrong, and there's got a lot of good mates that way. But equally, if we've got the choice, we'd sooner go to Nottingham or Manchester or Birmingham before we went down to London for a gig. You know, it's the same sort of distance, and we prefer the city. That's all it is. So,
yeah.
I mean, the first time I went up there was when I went to see Saxon at the Academy. Thunderbolt tour was the first time I went up to Manchester for a night out.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
It's the first time I went up to Manchester for a night out that I can remember. My mates were playing a gig in some bar in Canal Street when I was at uni, and I can't remember the name of the bar even now, but I went along and was hey, that's a night out, and I just sort of helped them with their gear and that. And I remember arriving at this bar, and then I remember waking up in the van.
One of those nights.
Yeah, one of them ones, you know. I went out and just I thought, oh, brilliant. Well, I'm not driving because it was normally me driving somewhere, and I just took full advantage of the fact I wasn't driving. But yeah, it's a good scene. So I can't understand why, why not have Manchester in the lyric, mate?
Yeah, why not? I think it's a very British kind of thing going, oh, well, nobody's going to have heard of this little town. No one's heard of Bury, have they? No one's heard of, Manchester. Oh, what's that? What's that? But Los Angeles,
Yeah.
San Francisco, you have all heard of that. So it was just one of those, I'd always wanted to do it.
Yeah, why not? Like you say, it's your hometown, mate. It's your story, it's your songs, it's your,
That's it, yeah.
That's how, man. All right, bud. Well, a couple more things before I let you go. Basically, what platform's yours for anyone who's listening who may be interested in what you've got coming up for the remainder of the year. To let us, let the listeners out there know where they can see you, where they can find you, other than the album, what you got coming up.
Yeah, well, we've got the album's out in a couple of weeks. Release date, I believe, is the 18th of February. Thank God. And then we've got 2 shows in February. If you're anywhere near Hammerfest in Birmingham, and end of February we've got Pentafest in Penta, North Wales, D-side. And then all the other tour dates, keep your eyes out on absolva.com. If you'd like to pre-order the new album, again, absolva.com. If you would like to join the Absolva fan club, all the details on the FC, again, absolva.com, and you can find out what membership you can enroll in.
Perfect, man. And one more thing before you go, Chris, bud. At the beginning of the interview, I'm going to play Fire in the Sky, with it being the latest single. But what song of yours would you like us to play at the end of the interview?
I think it's probably very suiting to play Refuse to Die now after talking about it.
I'm down with that. Thanks for your time, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks a lot, mate. Cheers.
Cheers, pal.